Okay, let's see if this works out. I am struggling today with the filming situation. It's too windy, so I have to literally find somewhere to sit and record. Okay, so spiritual baths, you guys, are extremely important. We all know what spiritual baths are for, but the the thing about spiritual baths is that people don't understand that just because you're doing a cleansing on yourself does not mean that you are set. um, Spiritual baths are meant for you to cleanse yourself and your environment. But like I said, they don't guarantee that you're going to be, quote unquote, protected. You do need to do something afterwards to seal it. When do you need to do a spiritual bath is a question that I get asked quite often. And the answer is whenever you feel like you need to do a spiritual bath, just do one. Spiritual baths are optional, but to me, they're necessary. When you feel like things are going kind of funny, or if you just feel like there's a funk around you in general, or if you've been doing a lot of things that maybe you shouldn't have been up to, or when you just feel like it's time to do a cleanse, when your energy is feeling a little bit heavy, it's a great time to do a cleanse. There's no real timing that you have to do a cleanse. Naturally, for women, we have a natural cycle that ensues to make sure that we are cleansed. And so, if you want to go based off of nature's timing, at least for women, it's once a month. And I do believe that men should have a time where they focus on the cleansing aspect of their energetic field as well. So, you could do it once a month, or you could just do it when you feel like it, especially if you're a person who does a lot of spiritual work for others and for yourself. You definitely should be cleansing yourself whenever you feel that urge, and you'll know. You can always divine about it as well, meaning you can do some divination and figure out when it's time for you to do a cleansing. Do I need to do a cleansing? Is cleansing all that needs to be done? Because the problem is a lot of people will do cleansings and they mistake that for protection. And the reality is sometimes you need a lot more than just cleansing. It's the same thing for your house. You can sage your house and smudge it and all that, but if you need an actual working, or if you need more protection or a different type of element to do the protecting, the spiritual cleanse or the saging and the smudging is not going to work. So it's the same thing for yourself and your energetic body. Spiritual baths are underrated and overrated, in my opinion. Underrated because people don't understand that sometimes you're not hexed, sometimes you're not crossed, sometimes you just need a good cleansing. Sometimes you just need a good refresher. The importance of cleansing can be on different playing fields, right? 9 times out of 10, you just need an energy a refresher every now and then. You don't need a cleansing every day, or, unless you're doing something that requires you to cleanse every day. That's a whole nother thing. In that way, I find it underrated. I do find it overrated in a way because I feel like some people use cleansing as their protection. They use cleansing as their spell work. They use cleansing as their defense to why things are not working out. And sometimes it's just not that. So, like I said, cleansing is its own modality, it's its own special place. And how you cleanse, there's universal ways, but depending on what elements you work best with will also help you determine how to do a cleansing appropriately for your situation and for yourself. Also, the types of herbs and things that you may add into your cleansing needs to be like, it needs to make sense. You don't want to combine two things that have no purpose working together, or they will conflict each other within that bath. For example, if you're doing a cleansing with just peppermint, you can do that with water, but peppermint doesn't cleanse or clear, it just blocks. It puts things at bay. And so if you're looking for cleansing, you need something that is going to cleanse you, not block you away from things. But in the same way, peppermint could be a great ally for you to use, in your home or at your doorstep, things like that, right? But when you're actually trying to cleanse yourself, you need something that's going to penetrate. You don't need something that's going to just make a barrier, unless that's what you need. So it's important to, I would say, divine about what is it that you need to do a bath on. Is it time for spiritual cleansing? Is it going to do the work? Is that all I need? Um, and sometimes it's not you that needs the cleansing, it may be the people around you. So maybe you need to do like more of a cleansing on your home instead of yourself. So you have to really pay attention to the whys and the whos and the whats and the, all of the things that build it builds the power within the bath itself, or the your magic in general. When you are more aware of why you're doing it and your intentions are not just positive, but I mean intentional magic, meaning when you're using certain herbs because it has this effect, when you are doing things at a certain time of the day, or placing things in certain places for a certain reason. That's what I mean by intentional. Intentional is not just being peaceful and being like, oh, I'm protected because my ancestors got me. Like, that's not intentional magic. That's ignorance, and it's sloppy and lazy, right? So it's important to know when you need a spiritual bath, why you need a spiritual bath, and how to do them effectively. So there are such things as, cleansing with the egg, right? And I was actually talking to one of my clients about this not too long ago, and she was asking me, "Hey, like, do you believe in like the egg thing and the and offal and things like that?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." I don't think I believe it in a sense that it's like I believe that's going to control my destiny or anything like that. But I do believe that people can put negativity on you by their thoughts and by looking at you. Yes, I do. But that's why it's important to stay protected, right? Not cleansed, protected. There's a difference. And so she actually showed me a picture of um, her. She did her own egg cleansing on herself, and then she read the egg afterwards. If you're not familiar with this, you basically use an egg to go over your body, closed, of course, and then you crack the egg and you see what's inside to see if there's any malpractice going on around you spiritually, or if there's something going around energetically. And that in itself is a regional concept. It's not. It's more so for people that are from Texas, California, places that have a lot of influence with Mexican culture. And of course, I'm from Texas, so this idea, and I've seen it done before by a professional brujo and things like that. But when she showed me the picture, she told me that someone told her that she's hexed and she's cursed. And I saw the picture for myself. Guys, the egg was fine. There was literally nothing to be alarmed about. And so this is another reason why I say it's important to divine. And it's important to go to people who know what they're doing, to be honest with you. Um, that is a form of cleansing, or more so of a checkup. And if you have someone teaching you about things and they're telling you that is means something's wrong, so you need to buy this, this, and this, you're not going to be helping yourself, because you're protecting something that may not need to be protected at all, which there's nothing wrong with protection. But what type of protection do you actually get if there's no threat there? So basically, you're like caging yourself in, you're thinking negative thoughts that people are trying to do something towards you. You're looking at people funny now because you're trying to figure out who did it to you. But the reality is there was nothing wrong. And if anything, a nice refresher would have been perfect for her. Maybe a cleansing of the home, things like that, or just paying attention to who's around you, but there was no actual threat. And so this is an example of, malpractice, when you have someone telling you, oh, you're cursed, you're this, you're that, but in reality, you're fine. And in reality, you may just need to do things a little bit different. It's important to have these checkups, but it's also important to have accuracy with these types of things, because a lot of people do things on their own, or they try to take matters into their own hands, but they honestly just haven't done the studies. They don't research. They don't practice. A lot of it is physical practice, like learning how things work. I can't tell you how many times I've learned about an herb that works for me that I've never seen online working in that way for someone else, because I'm a practitioner. I do things myself, right? But it also comes down to not just doing the work, but having the ashe, having the spirit or the abilities. Here comes the wind, right? So having the ability to conjure, or make things happen. If you're a seer, if you dream, and all these things, if you're psychic, you have to know your gifts and abilities. You may need someone to cleanse you, but you may be able to do it yourself. But it's about you learning how it all works, so you can actually have powerful, effective, intentional magic. And spiritual cleansing is a beautiful way to step into that doorway of things that you can do no matter who you are, but the effectiveness will be shown by your personal self, your state, your state of mind, but then also what are you using? What elements are you using that work with you to make sure that you are thoroughly being cleansed? And then afterwards, always protect yourself or do something that will kind of seal the deal, right? because cleansing yourself and then not doing anything afterwards is basically like taking a shower, not putting any clothes on, not drying off, and then walking outside barefoot. Everything's going to get on you. So, because you can't change the world, but you can change your world, right? So you can cleanse yourself, but when you walk out into the world, it's still the same. You can't cleanse the world. We can't sage the world, you know? So think about that when you are cleansing yourself. It's important. It really is. And figure out what way works best for you when it comes to cleansing. And you can cleanse your body, right? Your spiritual body, but you can also cleanse your mind. And that sometimes is a huge, that can be a huge help. And that can be your step into actually being able to see things clearly. Sometimes it's just your mental state. So, yeah. So that's the video on spiritual baths and cleansing, spiritual cleansing. I really hope that all of this was beneficial for you, and I hope that the audio was actually recording, because I will cry if this was not recording. But if you're seeing this, I guess that it was done correctly. Thank you so much for watching. If you like content like this, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you like this video, leave a thumbs up, comments, ask questions down below. Let me know. All right, bye.